Hey you guys, it's Britt tonight. We're here to talk about something a little different. I don't usually do book reviews on my channel. I felt like this was an interesting kind of topic to bring to my channel. I'd really like to hear from y'all as far as how you feel about this. So today we're going to talk about Crystal Harris Hefner's recent book that was released. I listened to it through a TikTok creator that actually reads books on live streams, and I took some notes as to how I felt and just things that I thought were interesting. So I figured that I would make this video. If you're interested, please keep watching. Alright, you guys, so this book was published by Crystal Harris Hefner, who was married to Hugh Hefner, the mogul of the brand Playboy. It came out 3 days ago, and the title is Only Say Good Things, Surviving Playboy and Finding Myself. And right now it has 82 ratings on Amazon. And I want to talk to y'all about this because Crystal Hefner has always kind of been, in my eyes, if you're familiar with the kind of, layout of who she was to Hef and how she kind of was integrated into his legacy and his life, I always kind of felt like she was a little bit of a gatekeeper, a little bit of a mean girl gatekeeper who was controlling things in a not so much a positive manner. So when this book came out, I was hoping that it would kind of help humanize her, and maybe I would walk away with a little bit of a different perspective of who she was. And I don't know if it necessarily did that to the fullest extent, but I have some key takeaways. So I want to talk about kind of what I'm calling the TMI portion of her book. She really goes out of her way to include some of these TMI moments that have made their way to sites like TMZ and other gossip websites. So her wanting the media's attention on this book definitely worked in her favor, because there are a lot of people talking about some of these moments that were just a little off-putting, a little too much outside the bounds of what we needed to know or was wondering about. The two things I'm categorizing as TMI would be that she shared that she removed her own virginity with a shampoo bottle. Girl, nobody asked about that. Nobody wanted to know that. Nobody needed to know that as a part of your book. Nobody needed to know that as a part of your story. To me, that was just very strange that it was even included. The other thing that she included is that, how can I say this? The back door was accessed more often at times because of some of the issues with the front door. If that makes sense, you will have to decode it for yourselves. Again, nobody needed to know that. I went into listening to this book as a way to know more about her as a person, maybe some things that we didn't know about Hef, some things we didn't know about how her role changed during her time there, some things that the public had never heard about that didn't have to do with any of these things that I just talked about. Now, some of the things that were meaningful to me and I thought were new, because I'll be honest, I listened to Holly Madison's book, and when I listened to Crystal Hefner's book, I automatically sort of compared them in some ways. And I was wondering if Crystal's book was not going to give us a lot of stuff that we didn't hear from Holly's book. It did not. There were a few things, which I'm going to get into here in a minute. But I felt like Holly's book was better written. I felt like it was more informative. I felt like it included lengthy stories as needed, but also other parts that were short, quick, concise for the reader. One of the things that Crystal really went into great detail about was Hef's final days. And this was something that I didn't know about because obviously, you know, there were a very select amount of people that were around him during his final days. And to hear her tell that story of what his final hours were like, it almost made me sad. And I realized that he ruined a lot of people. He did his fair amount of damage, but hearing about it as an isolated story, it made me feel sorrow to a certain extent. Now, I don't want to do a lot of really direct spoilers in this video because if y'all are interested and you want to buy the book or listen to it, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But what I will say is one of the biggest things that kind of made my heart sore was to hear how Crystal Hefner was spending time in the room with Hef once he had already left this world, while his daughter was en route from Chicago. To hear about that was, you know, this is a guy who obviously couldn't stand being alone. He couldn't stand being solo. And just to hear that she was sitting with him, even though he was no longer with us, while waiting for his daughter, just, it did a little something to my heart. So hearing that she was in the room while his daughter was en route was something that I didn't expect to hear, but to hear it from her just really hit me right here. Like I said, a lot of the things in this book, like the TMI portions, like I don't think that anybody necessarily needed to know all of that. I don't know anyone that is genuinely curious about those kinds of things. If you are, I think it's a little weird. But I didn't really hear a whole lot outside of what his final days were like that really made me think, oh wow, this is a completely different perspective as to what Holly Madison has already told everybody. And not that it's a competition, but at the same time, these two books are going to be compared. It's just the fact of the matter. Every single person that I've seen give a review on Crystal's book has mentioned Holly's book in the same review. One of the things that I will say, since I've seen the comparison being made so often between Holly's book and Crystal's book, is that I did feel like Crystal's book was a little bit more, how can I say this? It almost seemed a little bit more heartfelt than Holly's book did. And no matter which side you kind of fall on, I do think that that is one of the biggest takeaways as to a blatant difference between the two if you have read both. So I think that this is a good book if you're interested in Playboy, Hef, The Girls Next Door, you know, that kind of era of reality TV or pop culture. I think that this is a good book to listen to, absolutely, without a doubt. And I would be interested, if y'all have listened to or read both books, how do you feel? And how do you feel about the comparisons being made? Because I've seen those comparisons being made quite frequently. And what were your key takeaways? Do you feel like the TMI portions could have been left out and it's still been a really good book? Do you feel like the TMI portions were so that the book will get publicity? Because that definitely worked as well. I figured this would be a good little one-off video to put out there. So either way, sound off down below. If you like the video, please leave a like in the comments. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.